Assalamu alaikum, peace and greetings. You are listening to True Human Radio, brought to you by A New Day for Al-Islam Community Radio, produced by Brother William Kareem. We begin tonight. I'm going to get right into it. We've got a packed show for you tonight. We've got returning once again to our air is Dr. Raymond Youngblood of Youngblood Industries. We're going to conduct a question and answer session, God willing, inshallah. We'll have Dr. Youngblood answer any and all questions you may have regarding the YGB hybrid digital currency that is affixed to gold. We're going to be talking about gold. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, digital tokens, everything you've ever wanted to know about gold and how it can enhance your portfolio, how it can be used as money, and how it can protect you against inflation. Tonight I want to talk about currency because it is a universal thing. We all need some medium of exchange to purchase of goods and services. This is a fundamental part of economics, of existing in the society. Gone are the days where you can take a chicken to the marketplace and trade it for a bushel of corn, or take your dates, a bag of dates, and exchange that for something else of value. The problem is just that in modern times, the currency that we use as a medium of exchange has become, in a sense, corrupted. And, there's any number of reasons for that. But, it's when you have a system where the currency is printed in an almost unlimited fashion, and the only controls on the only limits that are observed in this relentless printing of fiat paper currency is the amount of interest that is being charged on the lending of that freshly printed paper. That's the system that we have now. That's the system that exists in not only the wilderness of North America and the United States of America and numerous other countries around the world. In fact, the number of countries that don't have this identical central bank system of currency issuance is so small. There's only so few countries left that do not participate in this system of interest-bearing lending of printed paper currency that they stand out. And I won't go into detail on that because we could talk for days about all the wars and the carnage and the catastrophes that have befallen every country that tried to resist this system of money issuance that Allah specifically warns us against in the Quran when He forbids interest. All interest is forbidden. So the idea is we, in an ideal society, if we're striving for true human excellence, part of that striving should be to not only eliminate interest from our daily, from our economies, from our daily lives, but to also eliminate a currency, the dependence on a currency that's based on interest. What happens is what we call fiat money is basically simply, there's many different types of fiat money, but the general rule is that when the money is printed, when it's issued, and it is promptly delivered to a number of very large banks. And those banks are in the business of lending out that money, for the most part, to large businesses. Lending is important. It's not the lending that's the problem, the interest. So Allah says in the Quran, loan your brother a goodly loan. This is not to be taken lightly. I would translate that more accurately as invest in your brother a goodly investment. Because the way that our Creator and Sustainer has has prescribed for us to do business, for us to loan our brother a goodly loan, is to trust in him for the increase. So instead of saying, okay, I'm going to loan you this money, but I want all of it back plus a certain amount of interest on top of that, regardless of what you are able to produce with that money. See, that's the problem. That's the fundamental flaw with interest. So if the system that all of our printed paper currency is based on involves the lending of this money to large banks and even small banks, but for the most part, it's the large banks, the too big to fail banks, that all of the large-scale lending to industry, so that industry can produce the things that we buy every day. So if we can move toward a system where the thing that we use as currency is detached, is freed from the slavery of this interest system, then not only will we have an inflation-proof currency that will increase in value, but it'll have the security of not being manipulated by the manipulator. If the people who print the money find that they're printing too much, and we get what's called inflation, because now there's so much cash in the system, in the money supply, that anybody, that the price of goods has to go up because there's only so many goods. There's only so many cows that you can get milk from. There's only so many, ears of corn that are being grown in the fields in the Midwest and wherever else they grow corn. There's a limited supply of everything. Allah puts limits on everything. So you can't just print unlimited currency. Otherwise, the price of things will have to go up. And so the way that they control this, if you want to call it control, is they raise interest rates so that it makes it more difficult, more expensive to borrow money if you're borrowing it in interest. That's the trick. So if it costs more, if money costs money, and if money is too expensive to borrow, then you're going to borrow less of it, and that is how the money printers control the amount of currency that they issue. Whenever there's inflation, they just raise interest rates. so they make it harder to get money. So now, if the problem was, there's too much money, well, now there's not enough money. You lose either way. Because, we all know that interest is what creates booms and busts. Whenever there's a big, what we call irrational exuberance, whenever there's the next big thing and everybody's trying to invest in this company or Facebook or Amazon or Google or whatever, name your next big thing. The Apple, the iPhone, whatever. Whenever there is something that people flock to like cattle and start investing in, you have large investors who borrow money. They increase their leverage. That's what they mean by leverage. They go out and borrow money so that they can make a larger investment in this next big thing than they would have under normal circumstances. In other words, if they couldn't borrow the money, then all they would have to invest is whatever they saved up. But the ability of large investors to go out and borrow huge amounts of money so that they can increase their investment in in the next big thing. What happens is, if that next big thing doesn't, starts to tank, just to give an example, just this week, the stock of Facebook, the company, dropped by something like 20%. Now, there's a number of reasons for that, but it's not because the company's going out of business, but it's just not as hot as it once was. It's no longer the next big thing. So investors are starting to lose interest in it, so to speak. So my point is, when things like that happen, all the people who borrowed huge amounts of money to invest in stocks like Facebook or whatever was the next big thing, whenever it was the big thing, if that big thing doesn't, starts to drop, those investors still have to pay back those loans. And so that's what causes busts. That's what causes what they call capital crunches, recessions. The gravy train runs out. Now you can't borrow like you used to. Interest rates go up, and now there's less money supply in the economy, but people lose jobs. People don't have security. The money is not doesn't buy what it used to buy. So so enter gold. Now, gold in and of itself is not necessarily the ultimate answer. It's not the magic pill that just solves all the problems. What makes, gold, if gold was our currency, the problem with gold being our currency, if we buy all of our daily goods and services with gold, or gold coins, let's say, you have to have one. You have to be able to carry enough gold coins with you to buy whatever you're going to buy, right? And then the merchant that you're buying from has to be able to make change. So if the price of gold on the world market is constantly fluctuating, then every day that merchant has to change their prices. They have to literally have like a McDonald's menu on there, when you walk in the door, with lighted, numbers that can change. It's got to have a computer screen or something so that the prices of things can change with the changing price of gold. So in comes the answer: YGB, hybrid digital currency. If you can have a currency, if you can buy things with a digital currency that spends just as easily as, say, PayPal or Apple Pay or Google Pay or whatever, name your digital payment method, but it is affixed to gold. Now you've eliminated the problem of the cumbersome, ability to carry your currency around with you. Now you can pay for things with gold, but it's in digital form. And it is dollar for dollar affixed to the gold, which you can take physical delivery of if you choose, or you can leave it on, or what we call on Wall Street, we call it street name, or leave it in the custody of Youngblood Industries. That way, your spending power is, in other words, you can spend your digital money wherever it is accepted, and knowing that at any time you can take physical delivery of your gold. I just want to mention one other thing before we bring on Dr. Youngblood, and that is that recently, the reason why there's an urgency to this movement is, there's a number of reasons, but one in particular is the fact that the price of gold, if you notice, if you follow these things, the price of gold is at I would call it a yearly or maybe a 5-year low. Gold is currently trading on the world market at approximately $1,220 something an ounce, about $1,222. Now, the reason why that's significant is because about a month ago, maybe a little more than a month ago, but earlier this year, gold was trading as high as $1,350 an ounce. So 1222 represents a decline in the price of gold on the world market. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. It's not important that you know all of the factors that make the price of gold go up or down. It's just important that if you are interested in gold, you should understand what gold is. Gold is not necessarily something that you should buy because you're looking for the price to skyrocket. The reason why you don't want to buy gold with the expectation of buying it low and selling it high is because price of gold goes up dramatically. That usually means that there's something wrong in the economy, that there's either high inflation, and so there's too much money in the money supply, and so the price of things go up, and accordingly the price of gold goes up. So gold is a hedge against inflation, because gold goes up in value as commodity prices, as other commodities go up in value. And usually when you see a whole bunch of commodities like gold, like oil, like coffee, like sugar, like, anything that any of the things that are raw materials, or commodities, you know what commodities are. When you see the prices of commodities, a wide range of commodities going up all at the same time, that's inflation. That means that you are probably going to see the prices of things in the supermarket go up. It's all about that money supply and that fiat money being relentlessly printed with nothing controlling it other than raising or lowering interest rates. So, without further ado, I want to bring back our guest, Dr. Raymond Youngblood of Youngblood Industries. Welcome, Dr. Youngblood, and thank you for being with us once again.
Thanks, Doug. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. trying to lay that groundwork, trying to set up the pins. Down.
Man, I'm just enthused and eager, and it's always exciting to hear you. I learn something every single time I listen to you. So I almost forgot to unmute my phone because, I'm listening so well, and I really enjoyed the education. I'm serious.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well, you inspire me because I'm trying to be, an asset to your organization.
Appreciate it.
So yes, sir. So let me just start right in. If there's anything you want to add to what I was trying to develop, because what I'm trying to do is get our audience geared towards what the goals of Youngblood Industry are. I understand that one of your aspirations as a company is to develop the blockchain, the power behind this digital currency, to the point where we have enough merchants, where we can start asking large merchants, let's say your Walmarts, your Targets, large retail stores, to accept this currency and move towards a time and a place where we can actually spend gold to buy our daily goods and services.
Correct.
Did I get that right?
And you got it exactly right. I also think it's important for people to understand that there are normally two players involved in the gold market. There are the miners, and then there are basically what we refer to as the brokers or the middlemen. And customers are now being put into a position, or the everyday citizen is being put into a position to choose one side or the other. Back before my group or my level of miners came into existence, customers only had one choice. You had no choice but to deal with the middleman, whether that was a broker or a mint or refinery, any type of reseller, jeweler. This was the only choice you had. You either accept it or you don't have the access to get gold. Most of the big mining companies were also under this thumb, and it's still under the thumb of the middleman. Then you had this kind of hybrid type of miner that came along that could not only work both sides of the fence, but we came in free of all encumbrances. We came into the picture. We didn't owe big corporate debts, and everybody wants to be happy and associated with some big publicly traded company. And when you do that, you have to remember the type of strain that they're put under to perform, the type of strain that they're put under, the type to make sure. Now, some people can argue and say companies are heavily regulated. Need I say Enron? Need I say Arthur Anderson? Need I say AIG? Need I keep
exactly.
going? Right. So don't come at me
Famous
with the
last
whole thing
word.
about. Right. Yeah. Don't, please. The smartest guys in the room. Please don't try to lay that groundwork with me, folks. You really have two choices. So now people are in this position to choose the miner or the broker. And the miner, we have an uphill battle because people are normally not used to dealing with us. They're normally used to just dealing with the middleman who, you know, make them buy it at a very high price, make them feel good about it, and send them on their way. And the miner comes in, we come in with a whole different aspect of it because we don't come in with the mindset that you have to buy it, hold on to it, and pass it on to your kids. So, you know, that's the only thing I would really add to the education you gave is now there's a whole new game in town, and people have to get used to actually dealing with people like myself who are the direct extractors. So that adds a whole new flavor to the game because that's a table that we wasn't allowed to sit at before, but now, and we're not even allowed to sit at it now. We just strong arm our way in, put our feet on the table, whether our boots are clean or dirty, and say we want a piece of the pie too. So, so but that's where we are now.
Excellent. So one thing that I thought of this recently over the past week, so forgive me if I didn't get to prepare you for this question, but
no problem.
I know you have a lofty goal of something like 800,000 subscribers, 800,000, you know, gold currency owners, people who go onto the website, get their digital wallet, and start to fund their account, or you know, or buy gold, or buy the currency, or buy both. And so, what is your outlook as far as production? Because obviously, you're talking about having enough gold to satisfy the orders of 800,000 subscribers. And so, if so obviously that's a large amount of future production, production capacity. How's it looking for your ability to meet the demands of if that many people, when that many people start buying gold? Okay,
let me first give everybody a very quick understanding of something. We've been preparing for more than the 800,000 for a while. And let me explain to people how. We knew we had to come directly to the people themselves. So what we started doing about 8 years ago, and you've seen the remnants of this movement, you just don't realize you've seen it. And let me explain to you how you've seen it. You have driven your car to work every single day for the last however many months. And just one morning, you're driving and you see a sign that says, "We buy gold. Sell us your broken jewelry. Turn in your old technology, your cell phone, your computer, whatever. We want all of that info. We want all of that stuff. Bring it to us, and we want the gold and the other precious minerals from it." Then you go to work over the next few months, and not only did you see one business with a "We buy gold" sign, you see a whole lot of buildings with a "We buy gold" sign. Then a few more months pass, and you start to see a lot of small shops. Their doors are closed. Now, I don't want you to feel bad for those shops. I don't. Because most of them shops were middlemen. They basically set up operation to take gold from us and peddle it to you. Basically, that's it. Now, here's the thing about those businesses offering and wanting gold. What those shops won't tell you is their normal supplier was not getting gold. This is why they had to go back to the general public and say, sell us your broken jewelry. Hey, ma'am, you're not happy with your relationship. You got a divorce. You still got that wedding ring. It reminds you of all the horrible things that you've gone through over the years. Bring it to us, sell it to us. We'll buy it for you at penny weight, per gram, per ounce, whatever, 10 carat, 14 carat, doesn't matter. We want it. Your grandmother bought you this necklace when you were 14 years old. You never liked it. God has called her home, and you want to get rid of that chain. You need a little bit of extra money in your pocket. You want to travel with your girlfriends or your homeboys to the Bahamas or whatever. Sell us that. You have enough money. You can make that trip. You've been selling all your gold. Hey, there's this big old box in the middle of the kiosk in the mall. You put your cell phone in there. It spits out $20, $30 for you. But what they don't tell you is they want all of that precious metal that's inside that cell phone, all that circuitry that's made with gold, silver, palladium, and all these different things. They want all of that. The reason they had to do that is because we on the mining side stopped supplying them, because we wanted to supply another person. We wanted to supply you directly. We got to the point to where miners like myself said, hey, why do I have to sell gold to you to resell it to the general public? Why can't we just sell it directly to the general public? Oh, well, no, that's just not the way the gold market works. So let me see if I understand this right. I spend all the energy, I risk all of my life and my people's life to go into some jungle somewhere, to look for it, find it, bring it out the ground, process it, sell it to you, for you to sell it to the same people I can sell it to. Well, how about if I just cut you out the middle, and then I can supply the people directly and share in that cost? The citizens get a little bit more gold for their value. We get a little bit more money for the work that we've already done. Everybody is fine. So here we've been shutting down all the gold markets around the world, lightly supplying, and people wonder, well, not just my company, small-scale miners in general. And just to give everybody a very good understanding of the small-scale miners number, 30 million small-scale miners worldwide, producing on average 33% of the world's gold supply, 33% of the gold supply. 33% of the gold supply comes from small-scale miners. That average comes to $7.128 billion per day. We can supply 800,000 people like they were 8 people. It's not a problem. And then we are prepared for it. We know 800,000 is not where it's going to stop. So since we know where 800,000 is not where it's going to stop, we thought about it and said, you know what, let's break this down even a little bit further. Let's break it up into 3 categories. Let's break it up into on hand, which is gold on hand, in the production, meaning gold that we're currently processing, then in the future. Each one of these processes break down. It gives us a little bit of time to go through to bring the gold out the ground. It also gives the what we call the HCOs, which we formerly we call them GCOs, the hybrid currency owners, and access to the mineral at different price ranges. So it really evolves around how much time and how much you want to make on your own personal investment. If you want to make a lot, you go towards the in future or in production. If you're okay with making a little bit less, you go towards the on hand. The mine that we own outright can easily supply several million investors. Easily. The production of each mine, remember, a mining company doesn't go off the world market price. Let me repeat that. Contrary to what the brokers tell you, no miner should operate their operation on the world market price. We have no clue what the world market price is going to be, so why would we base our product on the world market price? You don't know what the world market price is going to be tomorrow. We don't know what the world market price is going to be tomorrow. We can't base on that. We can't be hopping all over the place up and down. A gallon of diesel is too much. A gallon of diesel will cost us $6. Now, if I got to take it into a jungle, that gallon of diesel just went up to $11 because of the cost to transport it, the security to get it across the jungle. I may have to share 1/4 of that gallon of diesel with a rebel group, so they'll let me finish taking it into the bush. All of these things come into play, and that's what a miner refers to as what is called a cutoff rate. Once a miner understands what their cutoff rate is, that means the amount of grams per gold per ton of earth that comes out the ground, then that cost is then calculated into all the mining factors, everything from what we refer to as scouting, reconnaissance, exploration, extraction, process, security, transport, and then security again. All that cost comes together. That tells a miner what our cost is. Now we know what to sell it for. Most mining companies operate so far underneath the world market price that we don't have to be concerned with it. So a mining site that produces, say, an average of 12 grams of gold per ton of earth that's turning 300 tons per hour and has 4 plants set up can easily supply 50, 60,000 HCO, what we call hybrid currency owners. And just imagine that times 50 or 60 or 100, which is what we have. When you add what we have as a mining company and what all our brothers and sisters as small-scale miners can easily supply. So the supply for us on our side is relatively the smallest problem that we have. It's the smallest problem that we have. The largest problem that we have is the mindset of people not wanting to trust the people who actually bring the gold out the ground, but putting all their trust in the people who've been basically hijacking the price for years. So that's where it really comes into play. The people have to make their mind up. Do you want to trust the miner who's the first person to touch, see, and feel the gold, or do you want to trust the person who's selling you 12 and 14 karat jewelry but charging you 24 karat prices? You know, that's what it boils down to.
Wow. Well, I thank you for that, because that said a lot of that made a lot of sense, and I'm sure it's put a lot of us at ease, because you know, one of the concerns, and I'm going to try to formulate this into a question before we get ready to take questions from the audience. I want to get a sense, for the sake of our listeners and for anybody who is interested in getting their digital wallet and participating in this, becoming a hybrid currency owner. I'm sure that the main concern of the person who is just listening to you for the first time, or you know, this is maybe their first time buying gold in any way, shape, or form, they want to know, well, what is the mechanism by which you can, I won't say guarantee, because only God can guarantee anything, but what is the, how can I put it? I know we don't, when you're dealing with gold, we don't have FDIC. We don't have a government entity that's going to step in and, you know, make people whole if they don't receive their gold. How can, what I want all of our listeners who are interested in this product to feel comfortable with the idea of storing their gold with Youngblood Industries and using and wherever possible having, in other words, I want to talk strategy. I know that there are going to be some people who are genuinely enthusiastic about a digital currency and the ability to buy things with something other than the U.S. dollar. However, there are also going to be some people who are simply interested in obtaining physical gold, and they're not necessarily enthusiastic about the blockchain and the hybrid. Although, if that's how they could get their gold, especially at a very reasonable, producer price, then surely that's worth doing. But you're going to have, the bottom line is, you're going to have some people whose interest is buying buying physical gold directly from the miner and selling it retail to whatever at the world market price, wherever the corner, we buy gold place or wherever. So
Right.
that is a mechanism by which the average person can turn a profit if they want. But I understand that the goal of Youngblood Industries is to have a community of digital currency owners. And so what is the incentive for keeping the physical gold with you all, and how do you secure it?
Okay. Let me say what I think some people would want to say. How much should I trust this country boy from Louisiana with that accent? That old boy sound like he know what he's talking about. I know that's how some people can feel about me. That old boy sound like he know what he's talking about, but do I want to give him $200, $500, $1,000, $10,000? Do I want to do that? Government has put a lot of things in place, and unfortunately, take advantage of it one way or the other. If I would be wrong to tell you that you should fully trust what the SEC or the U.S. Treasury or any other organization put in place, that you should be able to trust what the company is doing, because we have a lot of situations. I have a lot of friends who have lost their 401k, who lost their investments, a lot of things that they've lost based on putting all their money into what is called a trusted system, and the company screwed them over. And basically a lot of these executives who ripped and robbed people off are walking around free and clear, and some of them still flying around in their private jets to go on and rip off somebody else. Some of it was intentional, some of it was not. Either way it goes, people lost. We have not many things that are put in place that can really help that. I would love to take everybody into the bush and show them every single thing that we're doing, even show them some of our storage houses where we keep gold and all these things, to do that. It's not really practical. It can happen with a few people, and then they get on the internet and they can share it, and even those people will be referred to as liars. There's no way, that's not true. That's just what we have. So we really, we're really left down to trust our instincts, to trust whatever due diligence that we can do. And let me share something else with people I think that's important before I get into how we plan to use the system with the gold that's kept in this. Really, people, no matter if it's me or anybody else, you're really left at the mercy of the person that you're dealing with. Am I really going to go and mine for the next 30, 40 years? Am I building a company around a structure that will keep going even when I retire, that you yourself intend to use? If you're an 18-year-old coming into this system and you want to retire at 40 instead of 60, are these people putting this kind of company in place? Or are we kind of stuck in our ways of being old school and building it around how our users and customers feel about us? You really left at the entrepreneur's mercy. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of companies of all races and genders and backgrounds, executives coming from all walks of life, that have made you feel untrustworthy of us. And I don't blame it, because I've also been in that. So I feel that. Let me give you another unfortunate. There's another unfortunate where Google can't solve all your issues. I'm sorry. You can Google me and a lot of stuff will come up. But Google is not going to tell you whether I'm extracting 12 grams per ton somewhere. It's just not. Google is not going to tell you whether I know how to deal with a corrupt politician or not. Google is not going to tell you whether or not I can survive a mudslide or an onslaught of mosquitoes in an off season that happened that we are woken up somehow, some way, or some form, or our camp being overtaken by soldier ants, or every pit that we drill or dig is being flooded with an underground aquifer. Google can't tell you none of that. To really dig down deep to say, can I trust this old country boy from Louisiana to take care of my investment? Now, there's some things you can do. We registered with the SEC, but so did a whole bunch of companies that rip you off. We tried to register with the U.S. Treasury Department. They say that we don't have a category for you guys, and we even offered to help the U.S. Treasury Department, and they've accepted to say, hey, let's write a policy around what we're doing, because you're going to have some more companies that come along just like us, and you got to have a department that they feed in. You can't categorize us with all these brokers because we're not brokers. And you can't treat us like brokers because we're not brokers. So the minerals extractor, the direct minerals extractor, have to have a different involvement with the community than the brokers. I can't compete with guys in suit and ties all day sitting in air-conditioned rooms, sitting around always on Sunday trying to figure out how to take your money. I can't do that. But what I can do is I can go in the jungle and find it and bring it out. So with all of that said, people, when we bring that gold out the ground, we got two choices to make. Bring out a whole lot or just what's needed, what we call just in time, okay? So the just in time means that it has to arrive to the market at a certain particular time. And why do miners at our level not bring out as much as we can as fast as we can? The main reason is the gold is safer when it's still in the rock. Oh. I don't have to worry about people stealing the gold if they got to go and work and get it. If they have to work to steal it, they will do that. We have fought off all types of bandits. We fought off all types of corrupt politicians. We fought off all types of law enforcement. Everybody wants the gold when it's out of the ground. Everybody wants the gold when we process it and put it into a smelting plant and process it to 999, 24 karat. Everybody wants it. Everybody would even kill one of us to get it, including government officials, including law enforcement, including other bandits of all this sorts and misfortunes and so on. They will hurt us to get it. And let me just be honest with everybody. We have to hurt them to keep them from taking it. So this is where the on-hand, in production, and in future comes into play. I know that I have a certain number of people that's going to come into the hybrid system. We know that, which we refer to as a hybrid chain. Everybody else in the cryptocurrency world is referring to it as a blockchain. The reason why we refer to it as a hybrid chain is because we have actually merged two products together, a digital asset and a tangible asset called gold. We merged them together. They now are fixed permanently for you, so that's how it comes up to be the hybrid. So I now have to look at the number of people that enter this system, and as they slowly enter the system, we now start making adjustments as to, we say, hey, we want you guys to start really looking at the on-hand or the in production. As they fastly enter the system, we say, hey, look at the in future. Look at the time that it takes for us to bring out the ground. That's not a lot of time. You can wait that time. Your product can build. At the same time, you're on that hybrid chain, which most people refer to as a blockchain. You're on that chain, and you're now transacting with peers. At the same time that your gold value is still there, because when you bought into the system, whether it's in on hand or in future, that's the price. And remember, we're not basing our price on the market price. We know you have to make a profit as well. So since we know that you have to make a profit as well, we can sell it to you below market price because we took it out the ground below market price. The gold now is in that system, and it comes out, it goes over to all of our little storages. Now, here's the thing. Please, people, don't think that a storage facility has to have all these giant concrete walls like Fort Knox, all of these mechanisms to enter into the building like Fort Knox. All of these, Fort Knox is built on an Army battalion base. There's Army tanks all around Fort Knox. How many of y'all know gold is inside there? If you say you do, you're a liar. Nobody since 1970-something has seen it. And the two senators who actually put their hands on it have recently since died. So nobody even knows in the general public whether Fort Knox has 1 gram of gold or 1 billion grams of gold. No human being knows. Even the people who protect the vaults have no idea what's inside the vault. Wow. That's not how we went about protecting ours. Some of our gold is in our little makeshift villages that we've formed. Some of these villages have been there for 500-600 years, some 5-6 generations. This is why it's very important that you have to have an understanding of the traditional government as well as the central government. The central government is more like the U.S. federal government, president, vice president, the House of Representatives, the Senate, the judicial system, so on. That's the central. Then there's the traditional government, which you, not from the movie, the Aladdin movie, the cartoon, not from the Lion King, but it is the paramount chiefs, the sub-chief, the clan chief, the town chief, the village chief. All of these people also come into play in protecting your gold. Then we have our miners and our security forces that help oversee and watch this. This is why we're very careful about how much gold comes out the ground, because we have to also plan for whatever is above the ground can be stolen. But again, who's willing to go and crack the rock open to break it out? Nobody. If everybody would be doing that, everybody would have gold right now. Nobody is willing to do that. Nobody is willing to go and remove 30 tons of earth to take out 5 grams of gold. So since we know all this, we put all these little small mechanisms in place. We know exactly how much we need to supply for on hand. We know exactly how much time it takes us to take the production into play to get that gold out that rock or out that gravel and bring it and put it into a facility just in case one of y'all say, I want to test this old country boy from Louisiana. Send me my gold to my house. Now, when we use the United States Postal Service, and why do we use the United States Postal Service? Because if I use DHL, Brinks, FedEx, UPS, and your cousin who happen to be staying with you who have a little bit of a problem, a little bit of a dependency problem, or your neighbor has been keeping his eye because he's been watching television and social media, and he know exactly what that box looked like that was put into your mailbox or whatever. If one of them takes your gold and you use FedEx or Brinks and all them, this is your word against everybody else's word. Let's hope that the FedEx guy can remember the 200 people that they've seen in a few hours, that they can remember who they can't. So we have everything built around using the United States Postal Service, because to touch that box is a federal crime and you will be prosecuted. This is where the federal government comes into play. So it's illegal to touch somebody else's mail. So we try to put every safe mechanism in place for everybody, from the storage facility, how we keep it in some places in the bush, and how we keep it in some places in the capital cities where we have offices, how we keep it in vaults that are ready to go, how we process it. All these things are put in place. And then it's also left up to you that when you receive it, you sign for it. It will only go to the address set for you, so on. I'm anticipating some people will want their physical gold. I'm anticipating that. I know most people don't want the physical gold. Some people don't want the headache of that. Some people don't want to have to worry about seeing it. So some people I know just going to want to get a little bit just so they can say they have it. They see it, they touch it, they feel it. We know both things is going to happen, but that's our safe mechanism in there. I got the big magic question that a lot of people want to know the answer to, which is, how much gold do you have? I would say this: 800,000 HCUs, hybrid currency owners, what we refer to formerly as GCOs, gold currency owners, is like a flea on the butt of an elephant compared to what we got. So I don't want you to be so concerned with the gold that's in the vaults. If you're concerned with the gold that's in the vaults, let me give you this very quick thing. Think about all the refineries around the world. Think about all the mints around the world. Think about all the vaults and storage houses around the world. None of those people mine gold. Not a single one of them mine their own gold. They have to get the gold from us. So I've already told you we cutting our supply. We cutting that out. That ain't happening no more. In the context of how the young people will say, we ain't doing that. If you're a country person, you know what I'm about to say, that dog won't hunt no more. We done with that. It's over. It's finished. We're not giving them any more gold. Now the gold that they have in their vault, the gold that they have in their storage houses, that gold is already allocated to somebody else. Somebody already paid for that gold. So how can they offer somebody else's gold to you? The only way they can do that is by promising the people who already own that gold that they'll sell it to you for a higher price so these people can make a profit. Nobody stored that gold in that vault just to sit there and watch it. They want to make money on it the same way you want to make money on it. So it's important that you know that. So since we didn't cut them off, now it's just left with our supply to you. All we're doing is redirecting from one group of people who you were going through back to you directly. So I think that's important for people to understand that the vault system, you know, don't worry about that gold because it's not about what we got on hand because that gold will run out. We can get 50,000 people who will come and say, we want all that gold you got on hand and buy it all, but yet we don't have the ability to go get more, then we just like everybody else. Put your faith in the fact that you're actually dealing with extractors. The key word is miners. We're extractors. We look, we find, we take out. The people who are offering everything else have to get it from us. So why don't you just come and deal directly with us? If you've trusted them over all these years, and yet we still have all these problems with our financial system, we still have problems with people living paycheck to paycheck, we still have problems with poverty, come on people, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect something new. You got to want to do something different. You're going to have to reach out to us. And we don't have no problem with you taking your time getting to know us. Take your time, get to know us. Fill us out. Test us out a little bit. We don't have any problem with that at all. So I don't know if I could have said all that in 5 minutes, Doug.
No, it was you covered all the bases, and I really appreciate that because I think that's the fundamental concern. It looks to me, and I really appreciate that you went into detail like that because it's becoming clear that the real security is in the future gold, the gold that's still in the ground. It sounds like that's the safest gold. The gold that hasn't been processed yet.
That's a good point, Doug. The safest thing for people is to know that we are extractors. You see, let me just throw a number out there if I can. I'm gonna make this real quick. Let's say we have 10 million ounces above ground. Let's just say that. We've been working for 23 years. We've managed to store 10 million ounces. That's a lot of gold. We have 800,000 GCOs that come into the system. They buy up all 10 million ounces. It's all allocated to them. They go out and they share with their family members. A mother shares with her son. The son shares with his friend. The friend shares with his dad. Everybody. We get quadruple the number of people want to come back into the system. Now we have millions of people signed up. We don't have the ability to go get more gold. Now our system becomes just like the current problem with digital currency now. Our ability to extract is where your power is.
All right. Well, no, that's the security. And so what I want to do before we take questions, and I want to just remind our listeners, please press 1 on your phone if you have a question or a comment for Dr. Raymond Youngblood of Youngblood Industries. Now is the time. Anything that you want to know about how to get involved, about what your risks are, what the opportunities are, and how it all works. We have Dr. Youngblood here to answer all your questions. Please press 1 on your phone if you have questions or comments. And before we take the first question, I just wanted to kind of put this out there. It seems to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that a good strategy for a beginner, for somebody who's new to your organization and who wants to dip their toe in the water, maybe what they might want to do, certainly what I may do once I get involved, is actually buy $500 worth of gold, or thereabouts, or 500 or less. That way, when they take delivery of whatever portion of that, of either some of it or all of it, they're only dealing in $500 increments, so that the postal insurance kicks in, and so if if someone wants to buy $500 at a time, they know they have that, at least that security in receiving their physical gold. That way, if they want to buy $1,000 worth, then you just buy it in 2 tranches of 500 each. Does that sound like a good idea for those who want to take physical gold?
Yes, it can go a lot of different ways. There's some people right now that called me and said, I have a whole group of people. It's about 50 of us. We're all interested in testing you out. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? Well, we want to do a maximum. And they said, well, we hope this is enough to get started, but we all feel comfortable with doing 10,000 each. Then I have some people who will call and say, can I just sign up and just add a little bit to my account every week or every month until you guys really get this thing up and running? Since we know we're in the beginning stages of all this, it just depends on what makes people feel comfortable. I think that the thing that's important for people to know is under whether one hybrid currency owner sign up or 1 billion sign up, we still go into the jungle and the desert to extract gold, no matter what happens. We're still going to do it. So I think that people have to feel comfortable within their own financial realms. Look, I think they have to kind of look at their own wallet and say, what do I feel safe with Dr. Youngblood and his team? 500, 1,000, even just a sign-up fee, and I'm going to put something there every week. I'm going to monitor, see what's going on with them. It just depends on them. It really, really does.
Okay. Brother Instructor Ben Bilal, do we have any callers just yet?
Yes, we actually do. We have a caller at 856-308. Give us your name and where you're calling from. You're in the queue.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Sister Habiba calling from New Jersey. I was wondering, is there some... Alhamdulillah. I was wondering if there is something that has been established as far as the security of the individuals that are extracting is concerned. The people who have been mining gold, mining diamonds, and they had that situation as far as blood diamonds is concerned. Those that have been mining coltan in the Congo have had the same situation. Is there an extra fee that is like a means of us providing insurance for those that are mining, so that this way, should, and God forbid, but should anything like that come into play, the extractors are secured as far as their health is concerned or their families are concerned, should this situation arise?
Wow. What's her name again?
Sister Habiba.
Yeah.
Sister Habiba, I've taken these calls 1,000 times. I've been on radio and TV all over the world. I think that's the first time I've ever heard somebody actually ask about the insurance of the miners. I'm almost speechless because that's the whole purpose behind everything. Let me try to answer the question before I get a little emotional about it, because I work with these guys on a daily basis. I know what they go through. I know, and they are so worried that we can't pull. The miners are so worried that we can't pull this off that they say they think the brokers have such a 100-year, 200-year head start on us, and they've embedded in people's minds so bad that we are such these evil, wicked people in the bush extracting gold and diamonds all over the world and everything, that nobody wants to deal with us. They see us as trash and garbage, and I describe it as vampires and werewolves. The brokers are the vampires. They look good. They sound good. Everybody like the way they look. And then we, the werewolves in the jungle, dirty, sweaty, and swamp and all this. Let me say thank you very much for that question. Let me tell you how I try to, as the head of all these miners, and I used to not want that title because I know the trouble that comes with being the leader of such a task. But I've with God's help, I've accepted it to the T, that I'm on this air talking about it, and they're all over the world talking about it, and I've invited my entire team. You hear my voice, but know that there's about 60 people that has absolutely nothing in them about going into the bush mining, but they're here to support the miners and everybody else, and I call them hybrids. They are the people that's on ground here to make sure that you get what you are supposed to get, and they make sure that the miners are there to get what they're supposed to get. We call them corporate activists. They don't go into the jungle and extract, but they extract everything else. And they become the key to the whole success of everything. They are the foundation to everything. They're the backbone to everything. So what I did was I only put it to where the gold comes through my company, which I know is registered, which I know is regulated, which I know has all the proper filings of documents and paperwork and permits. And then we can vet other miners, but we have about 10,000 miners that are already set up to supply to us if our supply don't meet the need of the what we call the ACOs, the hybrid currency owners. There are a lot of miners that are not in compliance. Let me say that again. There are a lot of miners that are not in compliance. I have people who come to me, activists who come and they say, well, these miners are using mercury and they're causing deforestation. So I have a choice. Either I can go there and talk to my brothers and sisters that are mining, some of them illegally, and say, you can't mine here because you're causing deforestation, and that's upsetting some activists in London or some activists in New York City who doesn't like this. Or you cannot pay your kids' school fees and you can go hungry for the next 2 years. Let me see which one I'm going to say. Check. Activists in New York, shut up. Activists in London, stop buying the gold for cheap and buy the gold at the regular price that the miners want to sell it to you for, and they won't have to use mercury. They'll have the machinery to not cause deforestation. They can replant 40,000 acres of trees if you bought the gold at the price that the miners want to sell it to you for and not at the price that the brokers are selling it to you for. If you trusted us instead of the brokers and move all them middlemen, we'll cause a little bit of unemployment, but yet you still get your gold, the world gets in a better place, and we can even supply set up a job and give the job to a broker if they're willing to work within our system. But if you're going to keep buying it from the brokers who are pushing the miners to do the illegal activities, then this is what the fight we have. Most of the miners, sister, I promise you, most of them are really on board with this system to be in compliance. There are a whole bunch of miners. Remember, there's 30 million of us. A lot of them are in compliance, and that's what we started with. But I'm going to be honest with you and tell you this. I have a site in East Africa. Out of respect to the government, I'm not going to name the country. That site is huge. You can take Manhattan and New York and put them inside my mining site and still drive on both sides and drive 2 hours and never meet the end of the boundary line. That's how big the land is.
Wow.
Here's the problem. There's 2 million miners working on that site illegally. The only thing that's keeping them there is the fact that when government officials come to me and say, Doc, do you want us to kick these people off? When you kick them off, who's going to send their kids to school? Who's going to take care of their pregnant wife? Who's going to put the zinc, the tin sheet of metal that we normally put on barns? Who's going to put that on their roofs so the rain or the sun don't beat on their head? Leave the miners alone. The amount of gold that they're taking out the ground on that site, they haven't even scratched the surface. And I'm not even seeing them as a nuisance. I'm seeing them as a solution. Because 2 million of them, that's like me having 2 million geologists. They've already found the gold. The advantage I have is they've already found it. The disadvantage is there was not a true mechanism in place so they can sell the gold and get the most value for it. And that's what we've created here. So we have some trouble, sister. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you we don't. But we have a very solid thought on the whole fixing of the problem. Most of those miners, they want the same thing everybody else wants. They want to be able to go to movies. They want to be able to have a retirement. They want to be able to send their kids to a good school. They want their wives, and the wives who mind want their husbands to have good things in life. Everybody wants to sleep in a Port-a-Pedic. I remember making a joke one time to the miners, I can't wait to get home to my Port-a-Pedic, and they were like, what's that? And then it hit me. I got to tell this story, sister. Please let me tell it to you real quick, I promise. I said I went to an area in Western Africa. It's in the country of Ghana in the western region called Sefieso. So we're on a mining site there at Sefieso, and I tell the guys, I said, okay, I bought 2 sheets. I bought all these sheets from America, like 600 or 700 sheets. And I said, what we're going to do is you're going to put 1 sheet on the bottom you sleep on, and you have 1 sleep on top that you sleep under. At the end of the week, your top sheet becomes your bottom sheet, and your bottom sheet goes to the laundry. About 2 days pass. I'm walking around the camp, and I see everybody bed, not even touched. The miners were sleeping on the floor. Some of them didn't understand what I meant when I said that the bottom sheet goes to the laundry and the top sheet comes to the bottom. And some of them said, Doc, the bed looks so pretty, I don't want to mess it up. It's a
Wow.
thing that hit me that realized how much we were separated. But there are a lot of mechanisms in place. Now, each government office have regulations in place to make sure that a certain percentage goes out to the village, a certain percentage goes back to the mining, a certain percentage goes back to what's called land reclamation, meaning put the land back the way we found it or better. There's a certain percentage that goes back to fix all these problems and to put things in proper place. But I'm going to tell you something, that percentage is not enough, which is why we're having to do what we're doing now. It's just not enough. So there are a lot of things that we're able to put in place. I'm just so ecstatic that the first question out the gate is about what's going on with the miners. And they are so concerned that you're going to be okay. You know, so there's a lot of things. Now, let me say this. Blood Diamond is a movie, and I would say it's about 80% of that movie was factual. The other 20% was Hollywood. Here's the thing. The Kimberley process for diamond hurts the miners because the miners don't have the ability to register with all of these processes that are designed for the brokers. The brokers put all these things in place to keep the miners suppressed. As long as I keep them in the bush so they can dig the diamonds, I'll create this fictitious process that makes, when the Americans and the Europeans buy my diamond, it makes them feel good. They are a freaking liar if they tell you that all those diamonds coming out the ground are not coming from problem areas. They are. And when you mix the diamonds together, they say, well, we can tell by the kimberlite. Let me tell you something. The jeweler in the mall can't tell you one kimberlite from another kimberlite. That's a lie. I have people who come up to me at parties and say, hey, is my gold ring real or is my diamond ring real? Lady, I don't know. I can't look at your diamond and tell if it's real or not. But I can tell you that there are a lot of things that we put in process, and even some of the government have begged me, literally begged me. I've had presidents beg me to put these things in place so they don't have to be in such poverty-stricken countries, and we're doing that. So yes, we are putting a lot of things in place. We have a long way to go, but this is the start where we are, and we figure that to get into the hybrid game, the blockchain game, can really generate enough money for us, our users, and the miners to make this worthwhile. We really feel that. So thank you so much for the question. She got me all pumped up now. Man, nobody never asked about my miners. Nobody ever asked about them. So she got me pumped.
May Allah reward her and you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, yes, sir. All right. I
promise I'm gonna be short on all my answers. I'm gonna be real short on my answers this time around. But she just got me going.
We've been blessed again. Yes, sir. Yeah, we all appreciate Sister Habiba. She's one of our most loyal listeners and always contributes to our program. So she's a very big True Human Radio. We thank Allah for her. All right. So, Brother Instructor, are there any more questions in the queue right now? Because I know we're into the 8 o'clock hour, and I'm looking forward to Instructor Karima
There are no more hands raised, but we will say as a last-minute statement to the audience that if you do have a question, this is the time to press number 1 on your phone, come into the queue so that we can entertain that question while we have enough time to give you an appropriate answer. Dr. Youngblood, I just want to say from me personally and also from my wife, we just truly enjoyed listening to your discourse. She actually has a question for you, but we're going to wait to see if anyone else in the audience is prepared with a question, and if not, then we'll go straight to Karima Medina Bilal, so stand by.
Okay. Doug, could I mention the website?
Yes, please. In fact, Sister Aviva just asked, can you please give us your information? And if you can, in the next few minutes, just give us a brief walkthrough of not just the website, but what does a person need to do if they want to get involved, if they want to get their digital wallet, if they want to pay their $93, how does it work step by step?
Okay. Okay. I'm hearing some feedback there, Doug.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't think that's on my end. Okay.
Oh, it's fixed. No problem. But it's youngbloodindustries.com. Youngbloodindustries.com. We want you to go there. We want you to click on what we do. We want you to click on YGB currency, learn about it. I think one of the things I want to explain is the hybrid. If we have enough time, the hybrid laws I think is very important. But you're going to click on what is the tab there. You're going to see a tab there. After you read through everything, you're going to click on a tab called Sign Up. And once you click on Sign Up, you're going to see our logo there. You're going to see it says Gold Hybrid Owner One-Time Fee. And then you're going to go right down below there. You're going to click on what is called Add to Cart. It's only going to allow you to click on that one time. It's the only time that you will ever have to sign up, ever. One time, that's it. Never again, no matter what other product that we're offering, to do that. All of this is helping us build out our hybrid chain. It's all helping us build out the hybrid chain. We have our plans on offering gold. We have our plans on offering silver. We have our plans on offering palladium, platinum, rhodium, yttrium. All the precious metal groups will be there. So, and other things, rare earth elements. Trust me, you with us for life. You with the miners. You with the actual extractor. So that's the one-time $93. Once you click on that, it's going to take you to what is called Proceed to Checkout. Once you proceed to checkout, you click on that, and then that's when you fill out all your billing information. You select whether you want to use PayPal, whether you want to use Square, or whether you want to use Stripes. If you're normally, most North Americans want to use PayPal. Most people in Europe want to use Stripe, and most people are used to coming on with a product called Square, which is similar to like an Apple Pay, and either one of those are very secure payment processes. And then you just go from there, and then it's going to send you an email saying that you're with us, you have your account. Now it's just helping us, and by being one of the 800,000, by being a hybrid currency owner, you like our darlings, like our babies, like the people that we appreciate that help took care of us, the people that help us build this whole thing, the people that help us develop and design. Yeah, and it's our job to take care of you. It's our job to give you things that nobody else can get. You have access to things that nobody else have access to. We know it's going to be more than 800,000 people that sign up. That's 8 billion people on Earth. All the other cryptocurrencies together are offering 800 million this and 21 million that and so on. They had no intentions on supplying the world. It's a product. It wasn't a currency. So when you only issue a certain number of something, that's a product. We have intentions on our being a currency, which that's why we're dealing with gold. And so once you click on there, youngbloodindustries.com, read everything there, click on sign up, and it's going to walk you right through the process.
All right, and I just for the benefit of our listeners, what I was going to suggest is a strategy. What I intend to do, God willing, is once I get my digital wallet, I'm going to buy a small quantity of physical gold and have it delivered. I think that when people start getting their gold, when people, inshallah, God willing, we'll have a large number of people who just want to keep all their gold in production or in the ground or in future production and just spend of what's on their ledger, what's in their digital hybrid account. However, I think when the first person gets that physical gold in the mail and it's insured for less than $500, and they can actually hold that coin or that bar in their hand and show it to other people, I think there's going to be an explosion. I think even if they went out and they sold that piece of gold for the exact same price that they get paid for it, which obviously is not going to happen. They're going to get it at a discount. Alhamdulillah, we thank God for that. That's the whole purpose. But I think that as soon as the first person listening to this broadcast actually gets their digital wallet, joins the organization, gets involved, orders some digital gold, orders some physical gold, has it delivered, and actually goes out and sells it at a profit, I think the floodgates are going to open up like we wouldn't believe. That is going to be the proof is in the pudding, and I forget how the saying goes, but something about the tasting and the eating, So that's at least going to be my strategy.
Let me share on that. We also know that too. This is why we want to separate the 800,000 from everybody else. We also know that it's going to happen. There's some jewelers in Houston, Texas, that supply entertainers, literally supply entertainers, that can tell you who supplied. When next time you see a Beyonce, I'm putting this on the air, knowing it's going to be fact checked. I know 100% this is going to be fact checked, and I'm willing to say this. That's how much I believe in and know what I'm saying is 100% fact. Your Beyonce, your Paul Wall, your Slim Thug, your all these entertainers, Jay-Z, get their gold from a certain jeweler. Ask that jeweler where he gets his gold from. I know it's going to be fact checked. The next time you see Britney Spears and she's turning and twirling on stage, ask her where she get her gold from. She's going to tell you she get it from that jeweler. Ask that jeweler where he gets his gold from. We know it's going to explode. We have no doubt that it's going to explode. And when it does explode, I will say this. Because we're in the launch stage, we will reduce the amount of gold that people would get after the number of HCOs sign up that we want. After the 800,000, we will go into a reduction. There's a physicist right now. One of my people was telling me yesterday that there's a physicist who promised me that we're giving away too much gold. He wants me to reduce it. I promise you. I wish I could bring her on air to tell the story. He wants me to reduce the amount. He says, please let him know that's too much gold he's giving up right now. And she said, no, that's only for these 800,000 people. Everybody else is not going to get that amount. He said, well, the 800,000 doesn't need that. That's too much. Do he have any idea the price of gold is going to be? So, we know, we realize that, Doug. We really do appreciate you saying that, too.
Instructor Douglas?
Yes, sir.
And Youngblood, we do have there are people breaking out of their shyness shell. So we do have another 2 to 3 people who are ready to ask questions. We're going to ask that they keep their questions as short as possible. And we'll bring them into the queue. The first questioner is at area code 434-688. You're in the queue. Give us your name and where you're calling from, please. Area code 434.
I know.
434-688. Going once, going twice. If you're on the mute, take yourself off of mute and join the conversation.
Yeah, this is Carlos. Apologies. This is Carlos calling from Martinsburg, Virginia. My question,
welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for your call.
Thank you. My question to Dr. Youngblood is, how did he come up with the $93? Thank you.
Good question. Simple. I'm going to make it simple. I know we're short on time, people, so forgive me for not a long elaboration. I had to look at the amount of money that could be spent by any particular person in the world that doesn't financially hurt them. The SEC says that I cannot put an investment in such a form that it hurts somebody if they invest in me. Now, even though we're not going to base everything on the U.S. because the world doesn't just work around the U.S., but we had to put it in such a place that if the poorest woman in the village, and I'm saying woman because that's what most of them are, in a West African village in Liberia, one of my market women, if she invests, and I know that she only has so much money, how much is that going to be where it will not hurt her or put her in such a dire strait that if things do go wrong? That came to be $93. Now, none of my people who added that number up like that number because everybody said, well, let's just round it up to $99 or $100 or $95. And I said 93 is what it is. 93 is what it's going to be, period.
All right. And that is essentially like, you can think of it like a Sam's Club membership or a Costco membership. It's your passport. It's what gets you in the door. It's the cost of the digital wallet. It's the foundation that you need to be able to fund your account and have a secure digital storage account for whatever currency that you purchase.
Correct.
Did I get that right? Is a good analogy?
That's right. That's a good analogy.
All right. And once again, we want to thank Instructor Karima Medina Bilal for allowing us to infringe on her time. Yes, sir.
Dr. Douglas, we have a couple of more people who have been waiting patiently in the queue. We're going to get to them, and then we're going to bring our dear sister on. Area code 386215. You're in the queue. Unmute your phone and join the conversation.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Well, the last question, it was answered to a point. So the $93 is actually like a membership fee.
Yes.
And
that is clear.
All right. So is there a level of investment, say, to help in the financing of the company in order to purchase machines and pay the workers, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay.
As opposed to actually buying shares or buying the gold itself?
The $93 is a customary thing that a sign-up fee of any cost is very customary in cryptocurrencies. Very customary. Matter of fact, most cryptocurrencies will have you invest in building out the blockchain before you can even start trading the currency. So I think I'm not sure if I'm understanding if you're making a comment or a question, sister.
No, I was actually questioning, all right,
okay.
Past the $93 sign-up fee, then what's the next level of financial investment?
Okay, the gold is sold in two forms. The gold is sold in the form of what is called a crypto dollar and a crypto cent. A crypto dollar is valued at $1. A crypto cent is valued at 50 cents. You can buy in increments of $5 or $10. The reason why it's set at $5 and $10 is because if I set it at 50 cents, which is what I wanted people to do, then when PayPal takes their fee out of it, it's not costly for us or for you. So this is why we have to sell it in the form of $5 and $10. The crypto dollars is sold in the form of 10. The crypto cent is sold in forms of 5. And when you buy that, you're coming into the system way below market price. Whether you're buying it, and you have three choices to make. Whether you're buying what's called gold on hand, in production or in future, either one gives you gold below world market price. So if you got that gold on the same day that you bought it, let's say you bought gold on hand, when you get that gold, you take that gold to sell it or use it through your what is called a YGB wallet, you have more gold than the value of the dollar that you put up. So it's sold in two forms, crypto dollars and crypto cents, after the $93 sign up, which is a one-time lifetime fee. That's it.
Okay, caller. We're going to move on to our last questioner before Karima takes the mic, and that's at area code 214-957. Speak air. Give me your name and where you're calling from, please. 214.
Yes,
You got a lot of noise in your back. Go right ahead, Jack.
Yes. I had a question. I was wondering, why in the world will you make gold available for working men and women?
Okay. To working men and women or people who not working. If you in most countries now, you're not working. So this is the thing. Most people don't have access to the gold. They just don't. They've had access to it only through the form of jewelry. But nobody really saw it for what it was designed to do, which is for currency. There are 254 countries in the world. All 254 countries only agree that gold is the most valuable product that exists amongst all of us. It's the only thing that all nations agree on, that it is currency. We all don't agree on the U.S. dollar and the euro and so on. But gold is the agreeable product. Gold is also the only product that when we put it in a natural state, it can go either direction for technology, it can go for medicine, it can go all these different. So it has a value way beyond any other product. But everyday working people have not had access to it directly from the miner, only from the brokers who have sucked all the value out of it. If I'm mining the gold in the bush and I bring the gold out the ground for $600 an ounce and it's sold on the world market price at $1,200 an ounce, why? Why is it $600 more? The reason it's $600 more is because the 9 middlemen in the middle have added all of their fees to it. Then they pass it on to you as the user or the buyer and say, hold on to it for 5 years or 10 years. And in some cases, you pay so much for it in the form of a coin that you have to pass it on to your children before they receive the value in it. We decided we didn't want to do all of that. Let's cut through all of that. Let's remove all those people. Let's take it directly to the person themselves. Every movie in the world built around gold. Half of the songs in the world built around gold, but yet nobody has access to it. And this is where we, the miners, come in. It's a new thing for people. We understand that. We understand that it's not customary to do this. I'm very understanding that. I'm very understanding people's hesitation. I really understand it. But gold makes the world go round, and you don't have any. So it's really boiling down to what are you going to do now? Most people don't have a choice. You don't have any choice but to have some or not have some. And the only people right now who has new gold that can come into the market is the miners. I like that question.
Well, listen, alhamdulillah. Thank you, caller. We appreciate your call. We appreciate that question. That's very important. As simple as it was, that's very important because that speaks to what we're trying to do as an organization, what Youngblood Industries is interested in doing, which is bringing gold in the form, whether it's in physical form or in a form of digital currency, this hybrid currency, to the masses of people who have been deprived because of these brokers. And I just want to close out by saying, I want to bring it back to the world market price. Even though it has very little relevance in terms of bringing the gold out of the ground, because that costs what it costs. The world market price has nothing to do with that. However, it's important that one of the reasons why I say now is the time, that this is what makes this whole concept so relevant right now, is because what we're seeing in the market is that the price of gold is not necessarily an all-time low. I mean, $1,200 an ounce is still, higher than it was in 2005 when it was $400 an ounce. But the point being, gold has been as high as about $1,350 in recent years. So if gold is now trading on the world market at about $1,200, $1,222 or so dollars an ounce, that means that it's hit what's called a support level. People are finding that now that the $1,200 price is pretty cheap for gold on the world market. And we're talking about people who don't have access to the miners. So if gold is at a low and it's only going up from here, that means that if you can get your gold by paying your membership fee, by getting this digital wallet for $93 and becoming a part of the organization, having access to whatever amount of physical gold you see fit to buy, you can, you're only going to see the world market price go up from here. It would take a lot for it to dip below $1,200, and even then, you still are at a profit based on the price that you could get the gold for by dealing directly with the miner. So it's a win-win situation from my vantage point. And so that's I just wanted to close out with that. And without further ado, assalamu alaikum, instructors Kareem and Medina Bilal. We look forward to your insightful question because it's always a good one.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Alhamdulillah. And Dr. Youngblood, greetings and peace to you. A pleasure to have you on the show again.
Yes, I hear your voice. I just started smiling. I want you to know that.
Well, that's a praise thing, because when I hear you talk about gold and I hear you talk about what you're doing to improve the status of humanity, that makes me smile as well, and I'm sure the angels in heaven are applauding. So big ups to you, brother. Big ups to you. So I have a question, and it goes like this. It sounds from what you're saying that you and your philosophy and your energy, your intelligence, your wisdom is the guiding force, the driving force, and the support of Youngblood Industries. Now, I happen to have read Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and it makes me very, very nervous knowing that the people who are at the top of the food chain, it makes them nervous when the people who are at the bottom of the food chain start moving on up. And the question that the previous caller asked echoed that sentiment kind of loudly. So my question is, we talked, the earlier caller asked about the security and the safety of the miners. And that was very, very good. I'm asking about the safety and the security of Youngblood Industries in the event of what I lovingly call the strange thing.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
In the event of the strange thing, that something unexpected happens to Dr. Youngblood, what is the structure of the company to assure that the company goes on even if Dr. Youngblood is not there to continue spearheading things on?
I like that. I like that question. And I like the strange thing. Just so you know, I'm going to use that. Okay. What I tried to do is I've tried to be me, and being me has been very unorthodox for people. It has also been very unorthodox to bring harm or to remove me from a certain situation, because I put things in place, and when they operate for a certain amount of time, it doesn't need me to continue. This is one of the reasons why we structure the things that we do with the miners in such a way that in the absence of me, you cannot stop the moving force. You can't stop the movement. It's way beyond me. As a matter of fact, you're better off with me in the system to help you overcome some of the things that maybe I'm putting a strain on. I want to talk about, so if I can real quick. I have a local politician here. I want to mention his name so bad, because I figure if you can do wrong, then people deserve the right to say your name when you're doing it. But just out of respect to the political world, I'm not going to mention his name. I went to him last year and I said, hey, these are some of the things I'm putting in place. These are some of the things I'm doing around the world. He had just taken a trip to South Africa. He understood all. He went to the mines and he saw all this and he was all hyped up and everything. And I said, I want to write a policy that brings a certain level of protection to the extractor, not to the broker. All the rules are written for the brokers right now. Every rule is written for the middleman. Even the large mining companies are being run by broker groups. Sometimes we call them investment groups. Sometimes we call them broker. Most times we call them middlemen. Either way it goes, the extractor, the technician, the technocrat don't have a voice. I went to him. He said, Raymond, anything you need from me, you can count me in. I went to him. This is a true story I'm telling you. I went back to him 6 months later. I said, here's the bill that I wrote. Please read it. Please have your legal people look at it, tell me their insight on it, everything, and let's talk about it. He said, I can't do anything for you because there's 4 brokers in the state of Louisiana that called my office and asked for my support. And I'm just going to be honest with you. 4 votes or more than 1 vote. I said, my man, I really appreciate your honesty. I said, most politicians would have just told me, yeah, Raymond, I'm going to help you, but they wouldn't have done anything. I said, but here's why you can't stop what's about to happen, you or your 4 brokers. The miners have also made their mind up that they're tired of the abject poverty. This is why you see so much turmoil going around in the world. They're tired of it. The bush woman is tired of it. The farmers are tired of it. The timber riders, everybody's just tired of being poor. They sick of it. They done with it. It won't happen that way. You guys are in the rich countries. We can't take it no more. We're rebelling. Now, the U.S. and all other countries have tried to do everything in their power to stop it. It's not stopping. You can't stop it. The other thing that I'm just talking about the natural movement. The other thing that I've done is my company is not necessarily run by me. This is why everybody refer to me as the chairman. I'm not the CEO. I'm not the CEO of the South American operation. I'm not the CEO of the East African operation. I'm barely hanging on as the CEO of the West African operation, and I'm not going to be the CEO of the North American operation. All of these people are completely different than myself. Another aspect that we've done, because I have had attempts on my life. I'm saying that openly. Any government official from the FBI, CIA that want to know, I have had attempts on my life. Even from American mining companies, I've had attempts on my life. They wanted land that I have. They tried to take it. I didn't want to give it up. They tried to buy it. I didn't want to sell it. And all of a sudden, all these strange things happen. That's why I like that thing, strange things. I'm not in complete control by myself. To hurt me or harm me only open up the floodgates from the people that I'm actually holding back from wanting to go about it even in a more radical fashion. There are some presidents of other countries that want to remove all of their mining companies, period. They want to stop all mining and just issue that to their locals or bring in new investors. They're saying that, oh, well, we get government aid from this. And the people say, look here, we've been getting government aid for the last 50 years, and we still poor. Oh, all these nonprofits, Salvation Army, these NGOs, this and that. We still poor. Salvation Army has received billions, and we still poor. Red Cross has received billions, and we still poor. To hurt or harm me won't do nobody any good. I'm the country boy from Louisiana. My voice is very big. My influence is very big, but it's not the only voice. It's not the only influence. I intentionally set some things in play that also give me a little bit of luxury. Now, I do have some physical security a couple of guys from, I have an ex-FBI, I have an ex-CIA. I have 2 guys that are currently in the U.S. military, all act as my security. I have security on ground in East Africa. I have security. I love being here simply because my daughter gets to be free. She gets to run around with her friends. She don't have to have a security guard with her all the time, an armed guard with her all the time. But I'm also not dumb not to have it. The other thing that protects me, too, is the sense of how I'm going about it. I'm not trying to hide from anybody. I'm not trying to hide from any government office. I approached the U.S. Treasury. They didn't know I existed. The SEC didn't know I existed. I approached them. I'm the one who went and filled out the regulations from the SEC. I'm the one who went and called the Treasury Department and waited 5 weeks for somebody to call me back and engage them over a certain period of time, traded email. I'm the one who did it. I'm not trying to hide it. I would advise anybody who do want to bring harm to me, reach out and say, hey, how can we work together? Because I would tell you this, sister, in the jungle, you don't have no enemies. You don't have no enemies in the bush. So, it boils down to how the whole system is set up. But I'm not the only one at the top that's doing it. Now, am I the big dog? Am I the kingpin? That's left up to the world to decide that. But, and then let me say this last little thing. With God inside my entire internal soul, before I go back to a life of abject poverty, how I grew up, having to wait for other people to eat so I can go in the kitchen and eat what was left in their bowls. And my family members hate my guts whenever I tell this story. But before I do that again, I can go where God is. I'm prepared. I truly am. Before I watch another child go hungry, before I watch another pregnant lady have to get up in the middle of the night and go outside to use the bathroom, why? Why do all these people got to suffer like that? I really believe I'm not an angel. I'm not an angel at all. But I do believe that God built me to protect angels. And that's why I have this sense of whatever about me that I don't mind doing what it takes to get it done. I'm just prepared for it. I really, really am. So, I've been stabbed, shot, poisoned. All that stuff has happened to me. So, I love that question.
Well, I tell you, I was so glad to hear you mention that God was on your side, because the one, your Christian brothers and sisters would say, the one whom God blesses, no man can harm. And in Al-Islam, we say, when Allah protects you, none can overcome you. So you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. And as we speak, there are people who are choking on a grape or slipped and fell on an old spare rib bone and fell down the stairs and broke their neck and died ignominiously. And died like a punk. You know what I'm saying?
There are some people that want to hurt me. Yes, there are some people that want to hurt me. I know that.
Well, there's people that want to hurt anybody that's doing anything, and all the prophets. I mean, you were in very good company, because they tried to kill Prophet Muhammad. Moses, he had bodied somebody, and Pharaoh's whole army and everybody were after him. So you were in good company. But the bottom line is that if as a Klingon would say, if I'm going to die, today is a good day to die, and let me die in a state. Let me die in a state, as we say in Al-Islam. Let me die in a state of Al-Islam. So let any of them folks know that they best not hurt you after you got my money. They best not hurt you after. They don't have to.
No, that's right.
They best not hurt you.
I also want to mention that's another reason for bringing in the corporate activists. That's another reason for bringing in the lead corporate activists, the corporate activists. There's a whole system running, and my people would tell you that when it started off, I was very voiceful. I had to speak on every meeting. I had to be on every call. They can tell you right now, it's getting to a point to where I can be on a call for 2 hours and they don't even know I'm on a call, and I'm just listening to the whole thing running on its own. It's running by itself. And that, to me, if you want to build something and you got to always be involved with it, you didn't build it right. You have to build it so you can walk away from it and stand there and watch it blossom. And that's what I proceeded to do. I don't have to have all the power. I don't have to have all the authority. I want to share it. I want to share it equally. I even want to teach them how to share it with each other. I want to teach them how they can do it. And then we have this cultural environment where I tell them every single day, every single chance I get, anything negative that come at us, I want you guys to absorb it. I want you to feel it. I want you to bring it into, don't even hide it. If government want to change the regulation, we cool with that. Change the regulation. We'll move right along with it. Somebody want to talk bad about us, let's take it. Let's absorb it. Let's bring it in. Let's fix it through that kind of format. And that's what we've done. So I'm prepared. My people are prepared. There's multiple leaders in this organization that is willing to pick up that torch and run with it before my face even hit the ground.
Well, that's we pray to Allah that if your face hits the ground, it's because you're in what we Muslims call sajda. And that's when you put your forehead on the ground in praise and thanks to Allah. So I thank you ever so much for that conversation. And don't let these sucker MCs hold you back in any way, shape, or form, because you're on a mission. You're on a mission that I believe Allah is pleased with, and it makes you a rarity. It makes you a rarity in this world. And for the people who are concerned that you may not be legit, I would tell them this. I had a mutual fund that was run by a very well-known organization for retirement funds that handles these kinds of things in New York. And these people who are supposed to know, they are supposed to know. These are all these MBA people and people with degrees. Don't get mad, Douglas. All these people.
No, I hear you. Some of the worst ones are the most educated.
Yeah, all these people that had these degrees, and these fools, how shall I say, had wrongful intercourse with my funds and messed up my whole thing, and 60 G's went out the window just like that. So if we have the choice between, no matter what happens, any investment contains an element of risk. Any investment contains an element of risk. And as you said, the best thing that you can do, because I could go, as you said, these people sent me these beautiful prospectuses that were just so well laid out and just gorgeous, and you'd think that these people were just at the top of their game. And whatever happened somewhere in somebody's back room, people made a decision, and not only me, but thousands and thousands of people had their funds invested, their life savings invested, and it all went up in smoke, and Bernie made off with the funds. So we can, you got to love the language. You just got to love the language. His last name was Madoff. I don't know about you, but that bothers me. I have a problem. I have a problem with that. So God bless it all. God bless you. I'm going to take my time now. My husband has said that I could take some of his time, but I think that what I have to say will dovetail very nicely with what you have said. So you just keep doing what you are doing. And know that when you walk in the light, it's like Harriet Tubman took the steps before you, and she faced circumstances that were way, way, way worse than what you or what I will ever have to deal with. And she got it done, and she got it done with seizures. She got it done with a concave skull. Because Slave Master bashed her head in. But she did it because she knew it needed to be done, and she wanted that blessing. So I see that same thing in you, and I ask God to bless you, and I'm asking you and Douglas now get off the phone because I'm going to finish my second. Love you, dearly. Get off the phone. Talk to you later. Two humans. This is Karima Medina Bilal, and I am coming to you live and in all my golden brown splendor. See, that word gold now is very much in the air. And I ask Allah to bless me to say something that you will enjoy hearing. It is dedicated to all of my single brothers and sisters that are looking for a mate. Yes, I am resurrecting, I'm mining lectures that I had in the past about mate selection. And one of the things that is very important as you think about getting married is what to do with your finances. Yes, what to do with the issues of your finances. How will you handle these wonderful investments that we have made? Yeah, and now you've done well, and you're going to marry somebody who may just be looking for that free ride, who may not actually have any business acumen at all, and will squander your substance. And so this discussion this night is on mate selection. With the help of Allah. And I can tell you one thing right out the gate. Do not get involved with anyone whom you would not trust with your money. And I thank you, Dr. Youngblood and Douglas, for giving me that, because I had not put that on my list. But it should be right there at the top. You do not get involved. I don't care how handsome, I don't care how beautiful, I don't care what kind of body or what kind of mind that person has. If you would not trust them with your money, or even more importantly, you would not trust them with your most valuable asset, then you should not be involved with them at all.